Having recently experienced a lengthy illness, I can identify fairly closely with the people of leprosy in or with leprosy in today's gospel. Those who've had any major illness would agree that it's not just physical in nature. Illness has social, emotional, and spiritual ramifications. Illness forces a social distancing that robs the soul of the spiritual benefits of human contact. Illness forces people to live outside of their relational communities and places them in a box labeled unclean, unwell, or untouchable, when part of our sense of aliveness is to be touched, acknowledged, and belong. Illness anchors us in place until we have the courage to advocate for our needs and ask God for healing if we feel distant. When we advocate for our needs and even advocate for the needs and healing of others, faith is no longer passive, but is active. Faith plays a significant role in our healing and sense of wholeness. Faith gives us a voice to ask for help. Faith allows us to see Jesus. The lepers saw Jesus. They called out for mercy and they were heard. Jesus didn't even need to physically touch them to restore them. That is the power of faith. The lepers were healed not just physically, but also socially and spiritually. As the story of the lepers revealed, there's more to healing than we may acknowledge on the surface. Healing unfolds over time. Healing requires movement, not just physically, but most importantly, healing requires movement of heart and mind. By sending the lepers on their way before they received healing, Jesus teaches us that healing takes place when we take steps in trust. We acknowledge that we need healing. We seek Jesus, the healer of wounded souls. We take steps of faith, and when we receive God's grace, we return to God in prayer to give thanks. Likewise, when we receive healing, we're more able to participate in the healing of others. That's also a way to acknowledge the source of our blessings. The readings encourage us to live a life fueled by the grace we have received, a life that reflects Christ in our actions, embodying kindness and gratitude. The readings highlight the inclusivity of God's grace and invites us to consider creating spaces where everyone, especially the marginalized and those suffering, could have the opportunity for restoration and aliveness. Now, today's also the memorial of St. Frances Xavier Cabrini, as she was known, and she had an unwavering commitment to her faith and to the marginalized. Her work transcended boundaries, and her legacy challenges us to extend our compassion beyond what society might deem as acceptable. Even today, her life work challenges us to see those who are not seen and to reach out to those needing our acknowledgement, advocacy, and help. So today I pray, merciful God, when we receive the gifts of healing, love, and grace, help us to respond with gratitude and recognition of the source. Amen.